car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead.
Hello and welcome to the Frontier Motor Show. My name is Iven. And for the next half hour, we're going to talk about cars. And you might not be in the market for a car, but that's okay. Don't switch that channel, because we're going to be talking about what's happening in the car industry. We're not going to have cars running behind my face here, individual vehicles that we're trying to sell and get you to come in and buy a car from Frontier Motors. This is about giving the people in the Pensacola some information about what's going on in the car industry, and also who can you call when you need some advice when it comes to buying or selling a car. And that's at Frontier Motors. And we'll get into that in a minute. The first thing we always talk about is what's new in the car industry nationwide. And one of the things that I thought was pretty exciting is that the Tahoe and the Suburban are going to get even bigger. Can you believe that? The Tahoe they're going to stretch a Tahoe out 6.5 more inches, and they're going to increase the size of the Suburban by 3.5 more inches. Over the vehicles they replace. More room will be welcome as long as this does not get unmanageable in parking lots. I think they're hard enough to park already, and now they're going to be even harder. An independent rear suspension improves ride and room for the passengers in the third row seats. Third row seats always been tough. If you ever sat back there, which I have, by the way, with friends driving, and I've been in the back, boom, 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 boom. Not anymore with the new suspension system they have. Expect these to be in the dealerships around mid-year, so probably end of July and in August. The Corvette Coupe has been delayed because of the strike. They are supposedly going to start taking orders, well, they've taken orders already, but hitting the lots in the mid-February, which is very exciting. I actually was able to preview one of the vehicles. And I haven't driven one yet, but I was able to sit in one. They had a prototype that was touring the country about 6 months ago, and I was able to sit in one of the new ones, and they are worth waiting for. If you're a Corvette nut, I would say this might be worthwhile. The unfortunate thing about the Corvettes is, of course, whenever they have a change like what's coming, they're going to be selling at a premium price. Some dealerships will be doing what we call price gouging. Everybody knows what that is when there's a hurricane coming, because people price gouge. And that's what's happening when you get a hot product. Usually for the first half year to 1 year, they're going to be at a premium price, even over list price. They're worth waiting for. The vehicle is absolutely gorgeous. Should arrive in spring or summer as far as when they're going to hit the lot. They said it in February, but I'm sure that's delayed also. Ford is coming out with a new Mustang called the the Mach-E. Kind of a weird name, because it's electric. It's a crossover that looks like a Mustang. I've seen pictures of it. I'm not sure if I love it or if I hate it. I guess I got to see it in real life before I know it. But it's going to be an electric Mustang. It's going to look a little bit like the original pony car. Has the makings of a hit. Its production launch will be critical because of the electric. Everybody's coming. I don't understand this electric fiasco that's going on. All the manufacturers come out with electric cars. I don't have anybody coming in and ask. We sell between 160 to 250 cars every single month. I've got nobody asking for electric cars. Now, we're selling hybrids. The Prius is one of our good selling cars. I love Priuses. Excellent car. Other hybrids also, the Ford Fusion, the Hyundai Sonata, the Optima, even the Avalon, even the Lexus hybrids are selling. But nobody's coming asking for electric cars. I don't even have people coming and asking for Teslas, which I can get, by the way. If you're a Tesla buyer, you can get a great deal on a Tesla right through Frontier Motors. But I don't stock them because there's not enough people asking for them. Well, what about this Mustang Mach-E? Are people going to come in and ask for that? The F-150 is going to be brand new. It's also going to get its first taste of electrification and hybrid. Here we go again. An electric F-150. There's a report that 4.8 V8 will also replace the current 5-liter, and it's going to be producing more horsepower, of course. We all want more horsepower, but also better fuel economy. That's interesting. It's so interesting that they can make a smaller engine more powerful and more fuel efficient, which they did, by the way, with the 3.5 EcoBoost V6 that had more horsepower than the V8. Kind of funny because they charge more than the V8. So also last year was the first time in history that Ford F-150 sold more 6-cylinders than V8s. Pretty interesting. And the reason is because used to be years ago that V6s were hardworking, weren't getting hardly any better gas mileage, and were very noisy. Well, guess what? Not anymore. Even some of the 4-cylinders now, Chevrolet Silverado comes with a 4-cylinder turbo this year. I have yet to drive one. I'm still a little skittish on that one. I know some of the people, the older people are hard, it's hard to shy them away from a V8 down to a 6-cylinder, which a lot of people are coming around now and buying 6-cylinders. But can you imagine going from a V8 to a 4-cylinder in a pickup truck? And then worse yet, to an electric pickup truck? I was driving to Key West the other day, and we had about a 400-mile trip, and I was passing a Tesla on the expressway, and I was thinking to myself, that guy ain't gonna make it. If he started where I started, it's got about a 300-mile range. And it takes hours to charge these cars. So I'm still thinking that if you're just gonna use it for a city car, it's okay. But if you wanna take a tour, if you want to go, like I've got relatives in Wisconsin, here we're in Pensacola, it's a 1,000-mile trip, what am I gonna do? I can't make it straight through, even if I wanted to. I'd have to stop, get 2 charges, maybe 3 even. Again, I guess you can see I'm not a proponent of electric cars, not yet. Once they increase the range and once they increase the amount of time it takes to charge these cars. I had a Tesla about 2 years ago. I plugged it in to a regular 110 volt outlet. It charges 5 miles in 1 hour. So get this, folks. You plug it in for 10 hours, I'm going to get 50 extra miles out of it. 20 hours, you get 100, so on and so on. Now, if you get a fast port station, which costs between $500 and $1,000, you can charge it in about 6 to 8 hours. Again, I don't see what's going on with that. Cadillac's going to have a new Escalade. Looking forward to it. The new Navigator is a phenomenal looking vehicle. I'm selling them like crazy. They depreciate like crazy, so you can buy a $100,000 Navigator that's a half a year old for $80,000. And that all leads me into one thing that we always talk about, and that is depreciation. And I always take one of my buddies is Dave Ramsey, and he talks about depreciation. He talks a little bit about Frontier Motors also.
Hey, Dave Ramsey here. Listen, there is a reason why car dealerships have such a bad reputation. They make it incredibly difficult to buy a pre-owned vehicle. But there's always the exception. In Pensacola, Florida, it's my friends at Frontier Motors. They've been serving the Pensacola community for 22 years. People hate being pressured when they buy a car, and I tell you that won't happen at Frontier Motors. They'll give you a total out-the-door price, and they'll put it in writing. Frontier also offers a free car advice service for the Pensacola community. So if you're ready to sell the car, call Frontier Motors for a fair price analysis and a free Carfax report. They love buying from private individuals. Or if your car got totaled, Frontier Motors will tell you what the replacement cost should be. To check out their inventory or see all the free services they provide, visit FrontierMotorsInc.com. That's FrontierMotorsInc.com. And don't forget to tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
So Dave, it was kind of a pat on our back at Frontier Motors that Dave Ramsey picked Frontier Motors to do an endorsement. I didn't call him up, and it wasn't an advertising play. He came up and said, I'll do a commercial for you if you guys want. He did it for nothing. And that was over a decade ago, and he's been doing a commercial for us ever since. He only does one commercial for a car dealership, and it has to be used cars because he does not endorse new cars, because obviously he's all about saving money. And we talked about Consumers Reports. Matter of fact, he did another commercial where he talked about Consumers Reports saying, finally in writing, what we've been talking about for over 23 years, that the first year depreciates 27%. 1 year, the first year, a new car depreciates 27%. Isn't that crazy? That's $9,200 in the first year. This was based on a couple of years ago. And by the way, in 2015, the average new car sold in the United States was $35,000. In 2019, I just got the new reports. In 2019, this is a new Consumers Report I got the other day, the average new car is $38,400. So that's an increase of $3,400 since 2015. I am not sure, and that's an average. I'm trying to figure out how people afford it. One reason they can afford it is because the finance companies are going further and further with their financing. It used to be 60 months was a big deal years ago. Then they came with 72 months. Our average contract, even on used cars these days, is 72 months. Now they have 84 and 96-month financing. Folks, don't do it. But I guess you got to do it if you want a new car that bad. Or they flip you into a lease. You know how you go to that new car? You ever see that new car worksheet that they have? It's called a four-square system. They go like this, and they give you a payment here, a payment here, a payment here, and a payment there. And it's all based on leasing and 60 months, 72 months, 96 months, 84 and 96 month financing. That's the only way anybody can afford a car these days, unless you've got the cash to do it. I've got a lot of people that can pay cash for a new car, and they'll come and buy a car that's 6 months old from me, only because they know the savings, especially on an expensive car. You know, a prime example is that we have an Acura NSX on the lot. I don't know if you know what that is, but that's one of those supercars. Looks like a Ferrari. It's a $164,000 car. It has 3,000 miles on it. You can buy it for $129,000. Now, I know that's a lot of money, but when you're talking about a $35,000 depreciation in 3,000 miles, I can't figure out why anybody would want to buy a brand new one. We have an Audi A6 on the lot with 500 miles on. We have the original window sticker at $71,000. $71,000. We have the car priced at $55,000. Folks, it's got 500 miles on it. We have a Buick Enclave, that's their nice SUV. It's got a $54,700 window sticker. We have the original window sticker. If you go to the Buick dealer, that's how much the window sticker is on that car. We can sell the car for $33,500. It's got 4,000 miles on it, $33,500. Talk about, that's $20,000 less than a new one. Even if they discounted a new one $5,000, you're still saving $15,000. The car's got 4,600 miles on it. It still is under factory warranty. These are just some of the examples that we're talking about. The more expensive cars, of course, the dollar amount is tremendous. But even something like on a Toyota Corolla, you can save $3,000 to $4,000 on a car that's 6 months old, which to me, that's still a lot of money. And by the way, when you're spending less money, you also pay less taxes. And a lot of our fees on the used car end are less than the new car end. So your fees, or your dock fees and things like that are going to be less expensive. So what we'd like to do is compare apples to apples and give you an out-the-door price in writing. That's one of the things that really sets us apart from the competition. Have you ever gone to a new car dealership and tried to narrow down the price, and then they come back with some stupid question like, well, how much do you want to pay? Well, how much do you want your payments to be? Well, how much do you want for your trade-in? Stupid questions. At Frontier Motors, we started this 23 years ago, and that's by telling you how much it's going to cost you, by telling you how much we can give you for your trade-in, by telling you how much the payments are going to be. And that really, people really like that. They don't want this back and forth. They'd rather tell me how much it is. Tell me what your deal is. And then what we do is one thing that a lot of dealers don't do. We put it in writing for you. So that way, if you're not sure, you want to double check, you want to go to another dealer, you want to think about it, you want to talk to your wife or your husband, you've got it in writing. You've got the breakdown of how we got to it in writing. And then you can compare it. And if any dealer doesn't give you the out-the-door price, I'd walk out immediately because they're hiding something. And it makes it easy for us because there are dealers that still don't give an out-the-door price. And I bet you it's more than 50% when my customers, I get their feedback where they come back and say, you know, I want that dealer down the road, and I ask them to give it to me in writing, they wouldn't do it. And I always tell them also make sure that when you get in writing that they put all the fees in there because different dealers charge different fees. Most customers in Florida know that they get charged a dock fee. A dock fee is because we, the dealer, have to do the tag work for you. Well, it got out of hand. Where the state says you can charge a dock fee, they don't care what you charge, as long as you charge everybody the same thing. So there's some dealers now charging almost $1,000 for a dock fee, which means they can advertise their car quite a bit cheaper, because then when you go in there and buy it for that price, they add the taxes, which of course is taxes. They can't fudge that. But then they charge you that high dock fee, and then your head explodes because wait a minute, that's not fair. And I don't really care if they charge you a $1,000 dock fee. What I don't like is when they don't tell you about it. What I don't like is even if they include the dock fee, they don't include the new tag. I've had that happen already where a customer comes in and said, yeah, and I told them, I said, well, how much are they charging you for the tag? You know that new license plate and title and registration is between $400 and $450 if you don't have a trade-in? A brand new one. If you have an old one you're transferring, it can be as anywhere from $100 to $250, depending on your vehicle and what you're driving. We include that when we give you an out-the-door price. And we want you to compare apples to apples when you come to Frontier Motors. And what I mean by that is not just the price. Let's say we give you a $20,000 out-the-door price and you see a car down the road that's $19,500 out the door. Now, what do you think? Well, they're giving me a better $500 better deal. But that's not necessarily true. What if our car has 5,000 less miles on it? What if our car has $5,000 more equipment? We have the ability to run a window sticker, the original window sticker on any car. So I can look at the competition and say, wait a minute, it doesn't have the safety features, it doesn't have a panoramic sunroof, it doesn't have the backup camera, it doesn't have 20-inch wheels, it's got a 4-cylinder instead of the 6-cylinder. These are all things I can find out to give you the value, which is not always in the price, but in the product you're looking for. And the last thing that you want to definitely check out, which you can't see on pictures, folks. I've had so many nightmare stories where customers driven across the country to buy a car because the pictures look good. They get there and the car stinks, it smells, it doesn't look good, the tires are rotted on the inside, the trunk mat is missing, there's no floor mats in the car, it's got a crack in the windshield. That's called condition. When I look at the auction report on a particular car, just the condition alone can be a $5,000 swing with the same miles and the same make and model. As much as $5,000. And there are a lot of dealers that buy the low condition cars on purpose. Why did they do that? They use them as price leaders. You see it all the time. You see the newspaper, you see it on TV, you see it on the website. Starting at. And the reason they do the starting at, because when you look at that car, you're going to walk away and say, I'm not buying that car. And they have that car there on purpose. And then they bring the nice one up, and guess what happens? It's $5,000 more. And now it's not a good deal anymore. And that's what got you in their first place, is their good advertised price. And that's why the car business has such a bad reputation. And that's why Dave Ramsey comes in and said, hey, if you're going to pick out a car dealer, pick one that's recommended by the Better Business Bureau. Pick one that doesn't have any complaints. Pick one that's honest. Pick one that'll give you a fair price on an excellent product. And that's Frontier Motors. That's one of the reasons we do this. And like I said before, it's not all about Frontier Motors. It's also about giving you advice. And advice, what I'm talking about is, let's say you're going to buy your neighbor's car. One of the things I would always urge you to do is run a history report. Any vehicle you're going to buy, you run a history report. I appraise over 1,000 cars a month. 1,000 cars a month. I run 1,000 history reports a month. Now, why do I do that? Well, one reason is because I want to make sure it's not a salvage title, it's not a lemon law buyback, make sure there's not an odometer problem. But there's other reasons I run the history report. Number one, I want to know where it was registered. What it was registered in New Jersey. Now, I don't got nothing against New Jersey, but I do have something against the roads. They have potholes everywhere in New Jersey, I know. They've got bad roads in Philadelphia. Up north, I'm from Wisconsin originally. They've got awful expressways in Milwaukee. Potholes because of the freezing and the melting, the freezing and melting. What does that do to a suspension system of a car? Not to mention rusting. A lot of times it's suspension. Now, I don't care if the car's 6 months old. A car from up north is not going to be any different in 6 months than it is. But if the car gets to be 2.5 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, I look at the registration. A lot of cars in the Atlanta area where I buy cars from are from New York and Jersey. I don't buy those cars. They might be just fine. Why take a chance? So I look at the history report for that reason. The other thing is I want to find out if there's a problem that hasn't been fixed. I was looking at a car the other day. It was a Mercedes product. The car was 4 years old. It was just out of factory warranty. I saw that the vehicle had 5 batteries installed within 2 years. Now, do you think that's unusual? I certainly do. Leads me to believe that the vehicle had some type of a drain and they couldn't figure out what the heck it was. They kept putting new batteries in, thinking the batteries were bad. It wasn't the batteries. So those are other reasons that I run the history report, and we will run them at no charge for you, and I'll even do it if you're buying it from another dealer. And the reason I say that is because some dealers do not subscribe to Carfax because it costs too much money. We, because we're such a large dealer, we pay one fee, and I can run it on everything. And that's why we advertise it out. A Carfax report, by the way, folks, is $40. If you go online right now and look it up, it's $39.95 plus taxes. It's actually about $43 by the time you're done. Or you can buy a five pack for $100. Well, you can get five Carfax from Frontier Motors at no charge. Just give us the ID number. That's all we need. Now, the reason we do this, folks, is because if you found a car that your neighbor has for sale, for example, or maybe at work, maybe it's on the Navy Lemon Lot, or maybe it's on Craigslist, you know, the other thing you're gonna want to maybe know is, what should this car sell for? Well, when you call to get that free Carfax report, my little computer system is pretty smart. It tells me what the average selling price for that exact car is within a 150-mile radius. So I can tell you, oh, by the way, that Chevy Impala, that's selling in our area for $17,500. By the way, what are they asking for? Oh, they're asking $20,000. Well, why don't you use the information I just gave you to get them to drop the price down to $17,500? And if they don't, you stop it in Frontier Motors and I'll get that car for you if I don't already have it and sell it to you for $17,500. So we get some residual sales off of that. A lot of times we don't, because the other dealers or the other individual just drops their price, and you call us up and say, hey, thank you, you saved me a bunch of money. And you know what happens now? Repeat and referrals. That customer that we just helped buy a car somewhere else is going to keep talking about us until he buys another car. And then normally he's going to come and see us and say, I see this happening all the time, where a customer comes in, talks to a salesman and says, yeah, I'm here because 4 years ago you guys helped me get a deal. I'm ready for another car, and I figured I'd give you guys a chance. And that's all we want, because we know that if we get a chance, we're going to win you over. We're going to win you over with the product that we put on the lot. When we buy cars at auction, by the way, the auction rates the cars from 0 to 5. If they're not rated a 4.2 or above, I don't even look at the car. I don't even waste my time. They grade the cars based on condition. And that's what I'm all about. A lot of dealers buy the car that's a 2 and a 3 on purpose. I said that before, because they can buy those cars $1,000 cheaper, but you come and look at the car and you say, I don't want this car. Or they doctor them up. They fix them up. I always feel that if a vehicle is in bad condition, the mechanical aspects of that car are also in bad condition. And that's something that you can't see. You can't see that the oil hasn't been changed. You can't see how it was driven. You can't see if it was beat, because it's been doctored up. So what I do is I buy that car that has not been beat. I buy the car that hasn't been smoked in, that doesn't have any scratches or dings on it. And then I put it out there as a fair price. And I think that you'll find out that the overall deal that we sell a car for is a much better deal than our neighbors do. There's over 100 used car dealerships in our area, 100. We're the #1 selling used car dealer for the last 20-some years. Not when we started, I shouldn't say that. There were some other dealers, but it took us about 5 years to get a foothold and build that repeat business. Now we outsell every single independent dealer within hundreds and hundreds of miles. And it's because of the way that we sell cars, but it's not just the way we sell cars I've talked about, it's the cars themselves. That when you walk in, I get these comments all the time where people come in and they say, man, I can't believe how nice your cars are. And then they say stuff like, I can't believe how nice your people are. And I always bring 1 or 2 of these testimonials with me, and believe me, folks, I don't print these myself. These are customers that are emailing us. We send them a survey, and some of these are got the wow factor. Here's one that came in the other day. It says, the most pleasurable car buying experience of my lifetime. What a great starting sentence, of my lifetime. I don't know, maybe this kid's only 17 years old. New car dealers have a dynamic that isn't present at this dealership. That is high-pressure sales techniques of new car salesmen. Rick Jones, our salesman, is a pleasure to meet and deal with, as well as all the others that I came in contact with who are the subject of my previous correspondences. The other one that I got was, here's another one. My cousin and I have both purchased our vehicles from Mr. Jones at Frontier Motors. We are thankful to Rick and all the Frontier Motor staff for treating us all like family and meeting our needs in our vehicle purchases. Y'all are tops. We have been telling our family and friends just how awesome you guys are, and look forward to doing business with your company in the future. God bless you and all you're doing and what you're doing for the Pensacola community. What great compliments those are. And this is what I'm talking about, folks. It's not just grabbing your wallet and selling a car. It's building a relationship when you come in that we want to treat you the way we want to be treated if we're buying something. We don't want any pressure. We don't want fast talking. We want to be able to make our own decisions. The nice thing about Frontier Motors is like going to an auto show. Very important if you're not sure what you want. We get the customers coming in, well, yeah, I want a mid-size SUV, but I really don't know what I want. Well, you've come to the right place because we have them all, because we're an independent dealer. So especially if you're thinking new, we'll have a 2020, maybe 2019. We'll have the Ford Escape, we'll have the Chevy Equinox, the Chevy Traverse, we'll have the Explorer, the Expedition right there. Then we have the Toyota RAV4 and the Highlander, the 4Runner, and we've got the imports. You know, we've got the QX, the Infiniti QX50, 60, 70s, and 80s sitting right there. We've got the Audi models right there because we're buying a lot of Audis because now we have a local Audi dealership. We have the BMW X1, X3, X5. We've got the Lexus. We sell a lot of Lexus products. There's not a local Lexus dealer, so we are the local Lexus dealer as far as I'm concerned. RX 350, the GX model, the LX, we've got them all right there, not to mention the cars. But you can look at them all and talk to one salesperson that's going to give you an out-the-door price in writing. That's not going to ask you stupid questions. That's going to say, here's what it costs you. Here's what your trade-in's worth. If you decide to buy a brand new one, by the way, here's what a brand new one costs. Here's what the invoice of a brand new was. Here's what the rebates and incentives are. Let you make that decision. It doesn't have to be right then and there. If you want to walk out of the dealership, we urge you, because we are going to give you such a good deal that we're not afraid of having you come back. And most dealerships are. That's where that whole thing started years ago about, hey, if you do this, what if I do this, would you buy it right now? Because they're afraid. You're afraid to go shop somewhere else, you're going to buy it cheaper. We're not afraid of that because we're going to give you a good deal right off the bat. Folks, we only got a couple of minutes left. We are, by the way, I forgot to mention this is on Facebook, but you can go to YouTube right now and you can watch the show on YouTube. We're going to be up there in the next couple of days, and we've got last month's show on there also. So somebody's new in the community, tell them, hey, look at Frontier Motors. Pull up Frontier Motors on YouTube. Go to our website. This show is also on our website. We have between 350 and 400 cars on our website. They all have pricing. They all got at least 30 pictures. Some of them have 40 and 50 pictures. And if they don't have a price, that means I just bought it. Because when we buy a car at the auction, it goes on the website immediately. All our cars are on AutoTrader and Cars.com. Again, pricing and equipment. If you are not sure if that's the best possible price, you can either email us or call us, and we will make sure that we'll give you the out-the-door price. We have a little clicker on our website, by the way. If you click on that, it goes right to a manager that's going to add the taxes, the dock fee, the tag transfer, so that way you know what the total is. And again, as I said before, we always urge you to go to a dealership that'll give you an out-the-door price, because then it's so much easier to compare. When you know the out-the-door figure here, the out-door figure at Frontier Motors, you just weigh the difference. Sometimes it gets very confusing about trade-in values, dock fees, tag transfers, and all these things. Everybody charges different fees. I don't care what they charge as long as they give you the total out the door figure. That's what's important. If you know anybody that's in the car buying mode, please ask them to stop in at Frontier Motors, and we'll show you how easy it is to do business. Our salesmen unlock every single car every morning, so you can shop at your leisure, you can sit in the car, we can give you a price list. You don't have to have a salesman tag along if you don't want to. A lot of people want a salesman because they want to be directed right to the car they're looking for. But for those of you that don't know what you want, shop at your leisure at Frontier Motors. We're open from 8:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock at night. On Saturdays, we're open till 4 o'clock. You can make an appointment with any of our salespeople, and we want to, again, thank you for watching this show, and thank you for listening. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Looking for the best car, SUV, or truck? Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you